Hi, I'm at the launch of a new Nikon entry-level digital SLR, the D3100, which features an all-new sensor, all-new processor, movie mode for the first time on an entry-level DSLR, live view for the first time on a entry-level DSLR. It looks like a very impressive camera. It's certainly now one of the highest spec Nikon digital SLRs on the market, which is ironic because it's now their entry-level model. And I spoke to Simon Eden about the new features of this camera.
So it gives me great pleasure to introduce you to the Nikon D3100, the soon-to-be #1 selling DSLR in Europe. And it is our first DSLR to bring you full 1080p HD movie recording from Nikon.
I'm with Simon Eden, who's the enthusiast product manager for Nikon UK, and you're going to tell us a little bit about the Nikon D3100 and what's new on this camera.
Yeah, so this is the Nikon D3100. It's the newest member of our DSLR family. It's got the new CMOS sensor, 14.2 megapixel, which, if you remember the D3000, that was 10.2 with a CCD sensor, so we've made big jumps there. It also features 100 to 3200 ISO, so better low light performance, which is again an improvement from D3000, which is 100 to 1600.
Okay. And it can be extended on the front as well?
Yeah, so it's got the high 2 mode, so you can extend it to an equivalent of 12,800 ISO, which in my view that's pretty phenomenal for an entry kind of DSLR camera. We've also got a new engine inside and helping drive this camera, which is the XP2, and that enables us, in terms of the design, it's meant to smaller, so we can actually make a nice smaller camera and keep striving to be smaller, and that's the demand in the market. It also means it's faster. So it's actually 1.5 times faster than previous cameras. It also enables us to get better picture quality, so things like active de-lighting with the high contrast kind of scenes, it's improved that, and noise reduction is improved as well. And finally it also enables us to, which is the next point, is it enables us to do full HD 1080p video recording. So this films in full 1080p HD video recording at 24 frames per second. You can choose 720p at 24 frames per second, 25 and 30 frames per second. In terms of the compression, it's now H.264, which is a slight change from the Motion JPEG we previously used, and it saves videos in MOV file format, whereas previously we used the AVI format.
What can you just talk about the difference technically from your point of view and why you would do that?
The key benefit for us really is the ability to have higher quality videos. So if you compare it to previous cameras, the quality's improved, and it also is a smaller file size. So we can fit more on the SD card, and I guess for the entry customer it means you've got a lot more space in the card to film. Okay, and another key one I wanted to talk to you about is guide mode. So this featured on the D3000, was very unique, kind of key selling point for an entry customer. Key improvements, we've added sample pictures into the guide mode menu, so you can actually see if you want to get a softened background. It will show you what that looks like at the different aperture settings.
There were some pictures in the other one, weren't there, though, in the D3000?
There were, but they weren't sample. For example, softened background, where if you change the aperture, each stop it'll show you it changing. So it gives you kind of more picture-led. The other one gave you just a brief kind of picture. We realise now that a customer doesn't necessarily know until they've taken the shot what that's going to look like. Okay. We've added some new menu options, so things like the movie, you know, we can walk them through how to set it to take a movie, or things like iFi upload, those kind of things. So lots more options in the guide mode. This camera actually features live view, so if this live view switch, which is an ergonomic upgrade, if I just flick it, it then goes into live view. And when in live view, I've got some autofocus options. I can have continuous autofocus, a bit like a camcorder, where anything in the viewfinder stays in focus. I've got subject tracking autofocus, so if there's something specific I want to keep focused, like my pet dog or anything like that, it would stay in focus. And finally, there's face priority, so if you're lucky enough to have 35 friends, you can keep the 35 faces in focus at any one time.
Up to 35, obviously.
Up to 35, obviously. You don't have to have 35. Right. I can actually flick straight into live view, and then the button there means I can record straight away. So in one motion, flick into the switch and record. In terms
Can
of
you do that in any exposure mode? You don't have to be on a dedicated setting on the dial there. Or
no, that's straight into that and straight into record, and away you go. The other thing, I guess, is this ergonomic upgrade, which we like to call it, is the release mode selector. So from here, without having to go through the menu system, I can actually select single shot, continuous shot, self timer, and quiet shutter mode. So
that's again new on entry level, isn't it?
New on an entry level. So it's almost like, in holding the camera, I can quickly go from whichever release mode I want. I can quickly flick into live view and start recording. I can flick the many options, so everything's within grasp and very easy to kind of understand.
What's the price of the camera? So
the price of the camera, the standard factory kit, which is the 1855 VR, which is this one we're displaying it with, that's recommended retail price of $579.99. Body only price is $499.99.
That's the same lens that you get with the D3000 as well. That's not
changed, so no, the lens hasn't changed. It's still the VR 1855. As we showed you today, there's the new 55-300 DX lens, which is an ideal kit lens really to go with this 1855. And yeah, we think these are going to be pretty strong sellers.